Last evening, I suppose I was invited by one of these five-star properties for dinner, and I just didn't want to go. I mean, I love the food there and everything, but you're so done with those experiences that they don't bring you the same amount of joy as they once did. I think social media post a certain point in time, or the material things post a certain point in time, stop giving you that happiness that it used to at one point. If you look at most of the luxury brands, they work with people with millions of followers. They could work with somebody with something like even a 10,000 follower base. I find the luxury brands are, in fact, a lot more, they give you a lot more creative freedom. Either you stop being who you are in reality and you become who you are on social media, or you stay who you are and let social media portray that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Flipside. In today's conversation, we spoke to one of the leading creators in the luxury space in India, the SoBo Guy, Mr. Vivek Dhadha. Vivek provides his lakhs of followers a look into the high life, and he has done collaborations with brands like Gucci, Armani, Ralph Lauren, and BMW. In today's conversation, we discussed his journey into the luxury niche. We discussed some of the trappings of having to create and maintain the kind of images that luxury influencers have to. And we discussed the flip side of the high life. If you're somebody who wants to take a peek behind the curtain of the world of fast cars and cool clothes and expensive watches, and you want to see what really goes into becoming a luxury influencer, then stay tuned.
Hey Vivek, it's such a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. And to begin the podcast, we wanted to start from your initial days. I believe sometime in 2016, you were casually posting food pictures, and that has today led to you becoming this luxury and lifestyle influencer with lakhs of people following you. Can you take us through that journey?
Well, to be very honest, I always call this the unplanned journey. I mean, I never really thought of being a blogger.
Yeah.
And when I was posting food, it was just out of fun.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I was always a 9 to 9 business guy, never really bothered about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know how they say most beautiful journeys are unplanned. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Never really thought about it, never thought about doing this. It was sometime in 2000, I think 18 or something, when the board of food, I just started posting my day-to-day real life.
Yeah.
I just something because I was just tired of eating out pretty much every day. And yeah, thankfully, I guess people liked what was being posted, and then that just turned into becoming a fashion and luxury page.
Yeah. I think initially when you get that reaction from the audience, it also gets very addictive for the creator, no, to keep putting
100%, 100%. I mean, that is what we all do this for, right? I mean, it's the audience that kind of motivates us all to go ahead.
Yeah.
I guess brands and monetary aspects come later. But it is the appreciation of people that follow you. It is a kind of love that you get from them. That actually pushes you to do this again and again.
Absolutely. I completely agree. But I also believe that, like you said, you come from a business family. I believe you are into diamonds. And I also come from a business family, and I understand that when we take up a career like this, there's sometimes a pushback that comes our way because it's a very unconventional career to get into. So did you face anything of that sort?
No, not really. So thankfully, I mean, I obviously never chose this to be my first source of income in a way. I've always treated influencing, blogging as a stress buster. It's always been something that I have attended to post office activities or maybe on weekends and things like that. So in that way, it's never really interfered with my main line of work. And to be honest, luckily coming from the line of work that I do, luxury is somehow an extension of what I'm doing anyways. So creating content was never that difficult in terms of whether it comes to travels or automobiles or fashion. It was something, it's just a simple part of what we do anyways.
It's coming naturally to you,
But Vivek, you did mention like this entire thing of how hobbies and just wanting to relax is what led you here. And you said eventually you enter like the murky world of like brands and this and that. And I'm curious, as an influencer, you work with some incredibly high profile brands from like a Gucci to an Armani to a BMW. And I'm curious, when it comes to luxury brands in particular, in your eyes, what do you think they look for in an influencer, and what are some principles that you followed that maybe increase the chance that such brands link up with you?
To be honest, I think I would say generally for across the board for most brands in general, I think they kind of have stopped looking at numbers alone. They kind of look at genuinity of the content, how honest the content is. And that is, I think, the number one thing that most brands will be looking at. If you look at most of the luxury brands, they work with people with millions of followers. They could work with somebody with something like even a 10,000 follower base. But it is the quality of content that matters more to them, and the honesty of the content that you're putting out. Second, I think they also look for people that will resonate with the brand. People who are probably either living in that space, people who would carry off the brand, or I would say carry the brand's ethos, the brand's principles. So the brand has to kind of resonate with the influencer, is the way I look at things.
Absolutely. I think the image of the influencer and the brand have to align.
100%. I mean, so for example, I don't think I could do justice if I was to do something like a Hyundai i20 or something. I wouldn't do justice to the brand because that's something that I would not, in all honesty, it's not something that I drive. It's not something that I would be using in a day-to-day life. And then that just becomes a created bit of content. I'm not saying that sometimes you don't have to do that for commercial angles, but it's something that you don't want a page filled with.
That's true. And I think the audience can also see through if you endorse a brand that they know you will not use. I think they can see through it.
100%. So, which is why it's been a conscious effort where I have kind of skipped a lot of brands that I don't think is something that align with what I live on a normal day-to-day basis. Because then that would take away from the honesty factor of what I'm doing. I don't want to promote things that I wouldn't use or something that's not in line with what I believe.
No, that's so valid. And I think all the aspiring influencers that are watching this can take this from you. I was imagining that luxury brands generally market a product not for the intrinsic value of the product, but because of the social capital that comes by owning that product. So I was wondering if the brand campaign, the brief that you get, is a bit different from, like, say, an FMCG product campaign.
To be very honest, in my experience, I find the luxury brands are in fact a lot more, they give you a lot more creative freedom. They have certain brand briefs in terms of how you have to portray the brand. So and which is most of the regular stuff. I mean, no vulgar language and the kind of music that you kind of choose and all. But they actually, in fact, allow a lot more creative freedom than some of the other brands that we normally work with. So personally, I have better experience when I'm working with a larger brand because they understand that they're in there to be able to let people see the brand through the eyes of the influencer. How the influencer visualizes the brand and how he can portray the brand, rather than just have a simple brief go out that, look, this is what we want to be done.
It's so important because when the influencer designs the campaign by their own, I think it also comes out very authentic. Sometimes influencer talk only in English to their audience normally, and the campaign sometimes that I've also gotten is now talk in Hindi and do this whole monologue in Hindi, and it doesn't come across authentic, and the audience can see it.
Like 100%. I mean, the way I look at it is, if you're asking somebody to do something which doesn't come naturally to them, it shows. And today, I honestly think maybe 3 years back, I'd say people may not catch on to it. Today, the audience is
very smart.
They know what's real. Gone are the days when you could think you could take somebody off for a ride. I mean, they know it all. I think the audience is far smarter than most of the influencers today.
And people are going to call it out as well.
100%. I mean, they can pick out what's fake in a second. And when you're out there, that's the last thing you want to do. Because I think look, the way I look at it is, when it comes to promoting brands that they don't believe in, we have Bollywood for it. I mean, they promote brands that they really probably never used in their whole lives.
Yeah.
And they're doing it. And that's probably the reason why people today connect more with influencers, because they expect to see real lives, they expect to see reality. And I think there's got to be a very hard attempt to keep it that way. The day we start becoming a fake media, you know, I think the game's already done with.
Yeah, because it'll create that sense of cynicism. Then I think that's what's happened with celebrity endorsements at like that higher level, because you know that you're being sold something really. It's in your face that you're being sold something, and so why would you trust it?
100%. I mean, I'll give you a small example without naming some brands, but a lot of brands now have gone into in-app selling. You know, they have these live platforms, in-app selling. And for the last 6 months, I've always refused to do that, because with who I am, you know, I mean, being in the brand business, things like that. No matter what the money is, I can't imagine myself standing in front of a camera or going live and saying, look, buy a t-shirt, you know, which is like 300 rupees, which probably I don't use. I mean, that's so fake. That's selling out for the money. And not taking away anything from the people who are doing it, but it's something that I don't visualize myself doing.
But we are all, I think, running on a platform that has a very unforgiving algorithm, and there's this constant pressure to keep creating all the time and to post daily. How do you free yourself from this rat race? And I believe that it comes in the way of actually living life. Now, as a lifestyle influencer, I believe everything around you is content. So how do you decide what to post and what not to?
So I've set rules for myself from day one. One, most of the content that I would post would be around me. I try and avoid as much as family, because I think while that is part of my life, they have their own individual lives as well. They have their right to privacy. And even though I might have chosen to be on a public platform, not everyone's comfortable being recognized at a mall or somewhere else. That's something that I decided very consciously to keep away from the public eye. Like you said, the rat race. At a time, I think I was there trying to post on a daily basis, trying to plan the content, things like that. But at some point, and I think that was more to do with the COVID and the lockdown, when we had so much more time in hand. I think that's where this whole thing has grown exponentially. Coming now, when businesses are all firing up, I have kind of let even social media take a little bit of a backseat, probably more than I should. Unable to post daily. But then you still try and keep the quality of content up, and try and still post relevant content. Like you said, the good part is being in lifestyle. I could be out for dinner, you know, and that still becomes content, you know. You're traveling, it becomes content. So thankfully, that makes life a little easier. And what I try and do is with business travel now on, so whenever I'm traveling abroad and things like that, that kind of becomes my bank of, you know, content that I kind of rely on every time I'm too lazy or too busy to try and create content.
But since your content is curated and you have these rules for you, it also means that your entire life is completely not out there. And I believe that's the same for all of us as influencers. We are all projecting a certain life, but that also sometimes is creating this illusion of a perfect life that influencers lead. And you, I believe, have seen the influencer life too closely. I think you've also interacted with a lot of influencers. Can you talk about the flip side of being an influencer? What are the mental health issues that maybe one can be subjected to, or how real are people actually on social media? Because it's important for the audience to understand that and to not take it very seriously. Otherwise, I think it impacts their confidence.
So, for one, I think I wouldn't even single out influencers here. What I would say is probably all of us, anybody on social media, you know, if we click about 100 pictures, we probably post one of them, which is probably the best, where we're looking perfect, you know. We're going to post all the great moments in life, and we never land up posting our failures.
It's true.
I think that's across the board. that are the perils of social media, where we all believe, no matter who it is, living a perfect life. We see everybody going out, enjoying, partying, and
traveling. Yeah.
we never get to see the other side of life.
Yeah.
But like you said, yeah. So thankfully, my peer group is very good. Another myth that people have, that there's a lot of competition and people are not friends. I think that's so incorrect. Influencers, in fact, or let me say, people at least in the lifestyle space, are so supportive of each other in general. You know, people people are always there for you and things like that. So that's a good thing. But yeah, when I talk to a lot of my peer group right now, thanks to the algorithm, a lot of people now are tired. You know, a lot of people don't want to remain in the rat race. A lot of them are obviously looking at business outside of social media. You want to encash on the platform that you created, on the follower base that you have, whether you're creating a fashion brand or maybe even going into public relations, managing brands for that matter, campaigns. So a lot of them are trying to do that. But yes, we all know how the algo is right now, how it promotes a certain kind of content as compared to other content. And being in the lifestyle space, sadly, that's the kind of content we can't create. You know, where we all started off, let's say maybe 5 years back, 6 years back, Instagram per se was more of a photograph sharing site.
That's true.
Everyone loved creating those, lasting images. Today, it's become more of a video sharing site.
It's true.
Takes different kind of content creation, comes very easy to some people, not so easy to some others. So that obviously is there. And like you said, the mental health issues, obviously. I think I go through it from time to time for sure. I take an absolute break. I wouldn't post for maybe a week or 2 weeks at a time. You just need a break. The stress of having to post, create on a daily basis. And you can imagine that if you're trying to do that for 5 or 10 years at a stretch, it's a job that comes with no holidays.
That's true.
And it takes a toll. I mean, you're out for dinner, you're busy trying to click pictures, You're out on vacation, you're trying to click pictures. You're always trying to think of what the next piece of content that you can create. While sometimes enjoying the moment.
Yes. Because life.
So that is something that takes a toll. Whether that's probably relationships, on people individually, family outings, things like that. You try and find a balance, but the rat race always kind of forces you to get back into it.
No, and it's difficult to actually get yourself out of it, because this is an industry where we equate our worth with the numbers that we have. 100%. And then we start comparing ourselves to other creators in the same niche. And we all experience this imposter syndrome. But I'd imagine it's very difficult to quantify success in this kind of an industry, because even if you reach 1 million, then you can aim for 10 million. So there's no end to it. So
also the thing is, I think what's very important is not just the number game. What I consider very important is, at the end of the day, if you're going to use this as, great. If you're in college, I guess the number game or maybe the freebies work for you. But at some point, it's got to start making monetary sense to you. Which means you need to be able to monetize that follower base. Now, I know people who are probably at 5 million, but still unable to monetize as well. And then I know people at 50,000, who are still able to monetize their followers. So, and I think that, like you said, is also a mental game, because for whether you like it or not, when the money starts flowing in, it is to a point motivational, and it pushes people to try that much harder. Post a certain number, I think, whether you're at 5, 10, 15, like you said, it's a non-stop game. You could look at like Kylie Jenner and probably want to be a 300 million person.
There's no end.
But yeah, there's no end to it. I also think the time for India has still probably not come, because when you look at, I mean, like you guys on YouTube, when you look at the YouTube revenues that are available in India as compared to what that's available to the people in the States, I think that difference has to come down in time, because today a lot of the content has been created by Indians here, and at some point people are going to be justly rewarded for that. Like I know for Instagram, if you're a US citizen, Instagram is paying you to create reels for the number of views that you get on reels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for that you need to have a US social security number, and you get paid for the views that you have in your reel.
That's
Closer
great.
to what I think what YouTube is the progress probably they're trying to compete with, but it's not available to Indians yet.
Okay.
Once that starts happening,
Yeah.
and hopefully we get paid the same amount of money to the people in the US get. It should probably get on to be a better career option for people. But yeah, today most people have to be in a rat race, because there is no way you look at everyone's social media profile and you're always comparing.
That's true.
You like it or not, you're always comparing.
It
It could be in terms of numbers or the brands that they have, or even what they're doing, if they're traveling, you want to probably be doing that. And like at some point you need to accept that everyone's in their own game, And as long as you're satisfied with what you're doing, I think mentally you're okay.
And also remind ourselves that their life is also not perfect. It's only seeming perfect.
100%. So I think probably as influencers, we begin to realize this because we know that we have our down days, and I'm sure other people would too. Sometimes the followers don't really get that always. They always imagine that you're living picture perfect, always happy, always smiling lives. But that's not always true. I mean, you have your own stress to deal with.
Of course.
It could be from work outside social media. It could be in terms of brand deadlines. It could be the 1,000 things go wrong for a shoot, and the effort having to create something. And we all go through creative blocks.
Yes.
We can't think of what to create and how to reinvent ourselves. That's when you take a step back, give yourself a little break, hopefully come back stronger.
We're also dealing with a lot of trends that we don't want to follow, but we need to on Reels.
I guess we're going to thank Instagram for that, aren't we?
But Vivek, to become a luxury influencer, you have to create content that is aspirational in some form. And I believe that people look up to your lifestyle and they want to have the life that you live. But at the same time, that would also mean that they cannot relate to you because their life is not like yours. So has that been difficult for you to create a community in this situation?
100%. I mean, so if you're going to talk about in terms of numbers, okay, I'm 100% sure I can never get to a number that probably somebody's doing dance videos or
comedy,
maybe a TikTok kind of content or more relatable content, I would say, because so when you're creating luxury content, how many people are going to share that in their family groups? It doesn't get shared that often. So that does create an issue when it comes to getting those numbers. But then again, I think as long as you start accepting the fact that, look, you're not going to be in that number game. You have to choose a niche that works for you. Or you can try and create things that maybe is not you, and then go after the number game.
Correct.
So it is an issue for sure, at least when it comes to creating a larger community. But then the good part is, I think India as a country today is aspirational. We all want to live that better life. And I don't think better life just means money, but it means in terms of we all want to travel now, we all love eating out. I think maybe 5 years back or 10 years back, not maybe as many people want to travel out of the country, or maybe go out for a nice, maybe a 5-star meal. Today, we all are doing that. So in that way, I think India itself is aspirational.
Yeah.
And hopefully as time grows,
Yeah.
that number of community who want to upgrade into better cars, better fashion, more luxury travel is only going to grow from here.
And even though this is a niche audience, you've managed to build a big community for yourself. Over 2 lakh people is a big community.
Yeah, well, ask those guys at 20 million. I'm sure they probably consider it as nothing. but yeah, I mean, like I keep saying, I wish I had a magic formula and I could probably pretend to know how it happened. But I have zero clue. The only thing I can imagine or believe that probably worked is creating content that was real. So a lot of times on the page, the cars are probably, I mean, half of the time the cars are what I own myself. You know, when I'm eating out, a lot of times it's when I'm eating out to places that I normally visit. You know, so I can imagine that that's probably what's worked. But I don't know. Come to think of it, I don't think Instagram themselves knows what works on the algos right now.
That's true. That's true. There's some magic ingredient to it which you can't. You just feel. You don't really know. It's not mathematical.
I mean, I've had times when I've spent maybe a day trying to create a piece of content, you know, and you're like, and this is something I'm so proud of. Post it. And I mean, the algos in about 20 minutes make you wish you didn't post it, you know. And on times you just take 10 minutes to create, I don't know, maybe something just stupid, you know. You have one of those moods and you just post it. And poof.
It's worked.
It just works.
It just works.
So I guess the only learning in that is you just keep at it.
You
know? If it works, doesn't work, you just do what you like doing. And you're not going to regret it.
There's an element of like trial and error and iterating until you find that golden
spot. So I think that's something I think that goes beyond social media for me. If I was to look at even business, I keep saying on the page as well. As long as you do what you love, you know, the rewards will come. And it's never going to be tiring because you're never going to regret it because you've enjoyed the journey. You've enjoyed what you were doing. If you start doing things that you don't like, or the commercial success, maybe you might get that commercial success, but at some point you're not going to enjoy doing what you're doing. Could be a business you're doing, could be a job you're doing, it could be content creation for that matter. It has to come naturally to you.
Otherwise you've gotten there, but at what cost?
Exactly. You know, I mean, there is that cost of, I think like Karan said, there is a cost of mental health, which today is something that we all need to take very seriously. The toll that it takes on you, it's not the best. And it is not something that you're doing for 6 months or a year. It's something that you're doing for next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Exactly. And the moment you start doing things that don't come naturally to you, either you stop being who you are in reality and you become who you are on social media, or you stay who you are and let social media portray that.
That's true about it.
Vivek, you said that you got into content creation almost by accident and things kept happening. But now you have this image of being a luxury influencer. And I was just wondering, does that ever get into the way of you wanting to do something that's not as glamorous or as opulent as people would imagine you'd want?
To be honest, no. And I probably said it wasn't almost accident, it's 100% accident. I mean, so go back to 2015, I had an Instagram account, but I would hardly, I don't even think I would post maybe once in a month. It was a private account. And you know how it is, being in diamonds, we're always taught to keep our lives private. Most diamond guys do not portray their day-to-day lives on social media for a lot of reasons, security included.
Yeah.
So with that said and done, social media didn't come naturally to me. But once that happened,
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice. It was, you're in there.
Yeah.
You have no choice but to continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Coming to the part of if there's something that I feel I should not put because it doesn't stick to the image,
Yeah.
it brings me back to the same thing. I normally would not go to a place, that I don't like, which is a part of who I am. So to be very honest, if I'm traveling, there are maybe certain hotels that I'm not comfortable staying in anyways. Probably that's how I've been brought up as a child, with the kind of traveling that we've anyways done or the places we would normally go and eat.
Yeah.
But does that mean it's going to stop me from putting up a story of eating pani puri in the streets of Mumbai? Of course not. I mean, that is who I am.
Yeah.
And it does not mean if I'm traveling by a certain car that I
Yeah.
cannot stop and enjoy street food as much.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely not. I mean, but yes, it does stop me from endorsing brands that I don't believe in or that I don't use.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to tell people, look, go ahead, buy this brand because I think it's great.
Yeah.
When I myself would never use that brand, or
Yeah.
probably would never use it even if they gave it to me.
Yeah.
So that definitely is a content that I would not want to put as far as possible on my page.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm not afraid. I mean, I think, like I said, I give full credits to the followers of today.
Yeah.
They're smart, and they know that everyone has a life outside social media today.
Yeah.
Although one thing I do feel, and it's a trend I find kind of troubling, but I've noticed that there's also a lot of resentment towards people sometimes in the luxury space, and I think people from affluent backgrounds in general, where people are derided for not having real problems, or I would say even dehumanized to some extent. And I'm wondering what your thoughts on this were. Is this something you've had personal experiences with yourself, either online or otherwise?
No, so thankfully, I think that's one place that I think I'm thankful for, that I've never really received, or I'd say probably, I don't think I've ever had a chance to experience online hate. I have heard a lot of my influencer friends go through it, things like that. But I've been lucky to not receive that. I think one of the reasons probably is, you could be from a luxury background, or you could probably be a luxury blogger, or for that matter, any influencer. You could probably be at 20 million. As long as I've had this policy that I've tried to stick to as much as I can, which is if I receive a comment or anything, I would personally try and reply back to as many people as I can. With simple philosophy that if somebody is going to take the time and effort to put a comment or raise a question, I need to respect their time, by replying back to them. And I think as long as people realize that you're willing to treat them the same level, I mean, this is where you should. It doesn't really matter if you have 20 million, 1 million, or whatever it is. As much as humanly possible. I'm not saying it's possible to reply to all the DMs. I can appreciate for people who have 10,000 comments, probably can't reply to all of them, obviously. But look, there are people who, influencers that I know, I've met personally, I'd say, who are at 25 million. And you meet them personally, and they are as soft-spoken, as humane. They surprise you. I've been surprised with absolutely no airs about them, no arrogance, nothing. And then there are people at 50K, 100K, who probably think they're probably the next big stars. So I think that, like you said, Jay, kind of comes across with the way you speak to your follower base, to the people. Even when people probably meet you, in person, at places, the way you talk to them or communicate with them, the way you treat them, kind of comes across. So that part, I think I've been lucky not to really see. But I think, but the resentment that you say, I think, but that resentment, I think, does not just come for luxury space. I mean, we like to see a lot of people succeed, but at the same time, there are enough number of people who I mean, why talk about follower base? I mean, we all have friends, probably would not be too happy to see our follower base or popularity go up or may not say it. But so I think that's something that's part of life. You have to accept that people are going to criticize you at some point.
Yeah.
Either you take that positively or you let that affect you.
That's where that choice comes. Yeah. And I think you've mentioned like the crucial importance of respect over there. If you treat people with dignity and respect, people would reciprocate more than not. I mean, there are
100%,
people.
100%.
Yeah.
And why should you not? I mean,
Yeah.
look, there's one thing that I can never forget. Okay. If it wasn't for each one of those 200K plus people, nobody on social media would know me. So if anybody knows me, it's because of them. It's not because of my content. I mean, I can create. I honestly know a lot of people who I love their content. I think they make fabulous content, but that content doesn't get the recognition that it should. People don't recognize it. So it is the followers who make you who you are, whether you like it or not. And as long as the day you decide that you don't want to respect them, I think you're already taking the first step, towards being obliviated from social media.
Yeah, biting the hand that feeds you, so to speak.
Exactly, 100%, 100%. So that is definitely, I think that's a very important factor. And for anything else, end of the day, social media has made you, but you can't forget who you are. If it wasn't for social media, I'd treat them the same way, and I'm going to treat them today if I am on social media.
Yeah, it's important not to conflate that. When I think I loved your idea of whenever possible trying to make sure you're dropping those comments back, making sure people feel like they're being heard, interacted with. Although I'm curious, when you're communicating with your followers and people who are, sticking along with you for your journey, I'm wondering if you sense sometimes a sort of disconnect because of the nature of the beast of like lifestyle influencing, like we said. You are not necessarily putting a lot of maybe who you are in terms of your emotions, your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs, so on and so forth there. So do you sometimes feel, I don't know, a sense of disconnect with the audience where they're following you for the kind of experiences you're having, but they aren't being able to connect to you on that deeper level?
No, not really. So thankfully, that's something I'm not felt. But yes, there is a certain issue that obviously comes with being in the luxury space, putting out maybe my business background, things like that. Because a lot of times you have people who communicate with you, and at some point are going to start requesting for help. So that is something that I face on a regular basis. The DM boxes are filled with that. Going back to your question of hate, if I ever received maybe something that's probably not kind, it's when I would not respond to a call for help, or maybe even it's an old follower base, and if somebody's asking me to help them financially, and when I would not agree, I mean, it's a strict rule that I do not want to get into any sort of financial help of any sort of social media because there is no way to know reality.
That's true.
I don't know if the person needs it, does not need it, things like that, and then there is no end to it. So yes, sometimes that disconnect happens when people feel that, look, you're living an X sort of life, and you could just take a little bit out of that and maybe help me, but you're not doing that. And what they don't realize is it's not about that one person in general. It's about how many people can you help, and how do you figure out who's real.
There's so many times that NGOs also reach out and they're asking,
100%.
can you share this on your story, share that on your story? And there's so much impact that story creates. You can't catch it.
Exactly. And unless you're sure about how authentic that story is. I mean, it comes from a very authentic NGO, maybe yes, I can do that. But if it comes from an NGO that you don't know, you putting it out is just adding credibility to a story which may not be true. I receive job requests. I receive requests to pay school fees. I receive requests for medical help. And that list just goes on. So that's a place where you have to kind of disconnect whether the audience likes it or not. You have to decide your boundaries, and you have to decide that it's something you will not or are willing to do.
So there's also this undue pressure to express social opinions on social and political issues, only because we have that platform. I think many times when influencers don't speak up on, for example, the farmers' protest or something like that, they're called out for not talking about it. But once they do, there's so much backlash that you get. There's half the segment that is in support of you, and the other half is giving you death threats. So what does the influencer do then?
I mean, so again, that's certain rules and stuff for myself, which is I say apolitical to all these things, even if I feel strongly about something, I understand that my opinion may not be valued or may not be agreed by a lot of people, So at some point, if it's something extremely sensitive or political, it's better to keep that maybe within your real life friend circle. Then kind of bring it on social media, because we've seen some things which are maybe at one point. I mean, I have friends who've done things on social media who they thought were completely immaterial, or they thought they were doing the right thing. And then the backlash that they received is something that they couldn't have imagined. And that takes a toll on you. Because you have people calling you names, people calling you certain things, and it's tough. So I tell people that maybe social media is not the place to voice political opinions. Generalize things, yes. I mean, if it's floods, if it's general human tragedy, yes. But
political.
If there's something that's political, I mean, I'll give you an example. In recent times, if there's somebody who's been released for a rape and how he's been treated. I mean, I have my personal opinion, but that's not meant for social media.
And it's sort of human nature now, especially on social media, where you're having nuanced, complicated conversations on a platform where, like on Twitter, you have like a character limit. Like, how can you really? And people aren't willing to listen to each other. Everybody's talking at each other. So how can you really?
No, I completely agree. I completely. Look, at times people also raise these issues because they believe in it. At times people raise the issues even for the controversial aspect of it. Because you know how it goes in social media. Any sort of publicity is welcome for people, and a lot of times anything to go viral. So we've had people on YouTube blow up, with those YouTube versus TikToker controversies, and people doing that kind of content,
milking the controversies.
Which is fair. I mean, if that's what they do, I think that's fair if that's who you are. But I think as a person in general, I'm not confrontal. I mean, I do not believe in confrontations. I prefer staying out of controversies. So I think that's something that's what I do on social media as well.
And it's I guess this is one aspect of human nature. But I think another aspect of human nature I wanted to touch upon today is, I guess when we have amazing experiences regularly, they stop making us experience maybe as much happiness and pleasure as they initially did. And I remember recently I was telling Karan about this. So a clip of the poker player Dan Bilzerian on Joe Rogan Experience, and he was talking about he's having a lifestyle now where he consistently has like the best experience, top shelf experiences. But because of that, he's reached a place where nothing can make him feel the amount of pleasure and joy he used to get from even small luxuries recently. And I'm wondering, as somebody in the luxury space, what do you think your opinion is on this phenomenon? Do you also
agree with that. 100% agree with that. So to take you back, maybe 5 years back, or as much as I would enjoy eating out or going to places, I was always, I'm fanatic about cars.
Yeah.
So I would always want to try all the different cars and things like that. Now we've reached a point where maybe just last evening, I suppose I was invited by one of these five-star properties for dinner,
Mm.
and I just didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the food there and everything, but you're so done with those experiences that they don't bring you the same amount of joy
Yeah.
as they once did, because it's kind of overdone.
Yeah.
It's probably why I think at some point people start looking for different experiences. People evolve. I mean, I think for me the journey, it started with food. It felt great. I mean, I love eating out. It was great. But
Yeah.
at some point, it got so saturated. The
Yeah.
last thing I wanted to do was eat out.
That's
And then it got to this place. Now at times, I mean, even when you talk about, let's say, fashion,
Yeah.
um, I generally think there is that problem that starts happening wherein you reach a point where you want to maybe not have so many clothes. You just want to probably have your basics,
Yeah.
which sometimes make decisions so much easier,
Yeah.
because each time you want to step out for an event or a party, you're always just trying to decide what to wear. You know, um, have I worn this before?
yeah,
Have I worn it for a similar event before?
yeah,
Um, yeah, you have three jackets. You probably would wear that one favorite jacket maybe everywhere you went.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
but post the time, a new jacket doesn't give you that kind of happiness that once used to.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just another thing that you're wearing for once and it doesn't happen. It comes to driving new car, I would be excited to probably try the car out, the day it was launched.
Yeah.
You know, now I probably just procrastinate on it and be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna just do it when it happens.
Yeah.
That joy is definitely not the same
yeah,
as it used to be.
Yeah.
So I guess one thing definitely happening is always trying to explore the next thing that'll make me excited when I wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
and make me say, okay, yeah, I still want to do this.
Yeah.
And maybe today, right now, I think adventure is that thing for me,
yeah,
whether it's I want to do skydiving or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that is something that I probably haven't done as much.
Yeah.
That still has some excitement in it.
yeah,
Other than that, it doesn't excite you.
Yeah.
I can just imagine, like you said, what Dan will do. He's done it all. I mean,
exactly,
he's lived it all.
Yeah.
So, like
exactly.
for him, what the hell is left?
Left. Yeah.
What's left? What's
What's
left?
left?
And if I was in that place, I'd feel this sense of, I don't know, ambivalence and maybe frustration towards my own experiences. Because maybe in that place, I'd feel like frustrated at myself for not enjoying it more, or just, kind of maybe feeling, I don't know, confused or guilty about not being able to enjoy something more. But you can't. You reach that limit.
It just happens,
Yeah.
we are all humans.
Yeah.
There's just that much of enjoyment that comes through.
Yeah.
I also think, part of that enjoyment would come in when we would acquire things, or we would get things that we thought are probably maybe a little out of the budget, or something we've aspired to get for maybe 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
It could be maybe the latest iPhone, or
Yeah.
maybe a new car or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once, whether it's influencing or in general life, you
Yeah.
get to a point where you can buy what you want.
Yeah.
The excitement
Yeah.
to get that probably doesn't exist as much. But I think that's what they call adulting also, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid, we would enjoy maybe getting a toy. And as we grow older, it's just another phone, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I think this is the law of diminishing returns. I think it happens with
100%.
everything, and it doesn't just happen with even material things. I've seen this happen with fame. Initially, when you get fame, it's like, wow. And then after a point, you're used to it. It doesn't give you the same high again.
No, I mean, at some point, I think it goes the other way around. So at some point, being recognized in public,
Yeah.
gives you a high.
Yeah.
And then you reach a point where you're hoping that nobody comes up. You just want to have your own me time. You don't want to be recognized.
Yeah.
Probably the first 1,000 followers
Yeah.
give you like a massive high, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm sure for someone at 10 million getting to 10.1 is
Yeah.
immaterial. The 100,000 does not even matter to them anymore.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
It's you reach a point where I think peace of mind becomes as valuable, if not more valuable than fame, pleasure, things like that.
I think absolutely. I mean, in that, I think I probably bring in, like we had Rakesh Jinjwala just say, I mean, his worst investment was health. You
Yeah.
know, at some
Mm,
point, our mental health, physical health
Yeah.
is what you need to go back to
yeah.
and realize that happiness in small things, you need to try and find those small things
Yeah.
that are going to keep you happy. So it could be working out at the gym. It could be probably going for a run, maybe even a long drive,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
think social media post a certain point in time, or the material things post a certain point in time, stop giving you that happiness that it used to at one point.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think this is such a beautiful note to end our podcast on. We've had such a beautiful conversation with you, Vivek. Thank you for doing this and being so
No,
generous
I
with your
mean,
time. Would you have
thank you.
parting words?
And I apologize for the delay though. And you guys have been great. I hope we're going to catch up somewhere sometime soon.
Love
Sure,
to.
sure, sure. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I look forward to this again sometime.
To our audience, thank you so much for watching. Tell us in the comments which was the key insight for you from this episode. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, share this with your friends and family, and we'll see you very soon in another episode. Lots of love. Bye.